Hi, Gemini. This is your Pisces season reading. Welcome, welcome. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which will be in the first link below, but give it a couple days and check back for that. One thing I can say about these readings is that the energy and the planets, maybe it's me as well, maybe it's us, whoever's starting to watch, thank you for being here. Most recently, I really appreciate it. I've gained a lot of subscribers in the past 2 months. Yay. Maybe it's all coming together. I think it's mostly the energy of the stars, the energy of right now, personally. However, you're still going through this attachment phase. We're always still going through it, but this one we've talked about quite a bit and it's still happening. You are now really beginning to experience even more depth in this emotional regulation from the attachments, from healthy or unhealthy ones, right? You may have put a lot of your energy into your life in order to have given yourself some content, some space. Now, that was fine and has been fine. I'm laughing because the change is in the Four of Cups. So from the 9 to the 4. Once you allow yourself to detach, you then, like, this is what's said in, this has been said in many different ways. And what it is that once you get what you want, or what you thought you wanted, and you have this like desire and this maybe it's ego, who knows, you have this inability to shift from the specific goal. I'm so fidgety right now, sorry. And yet what happens is that from the 9 to the 4, take 5 cups away, you're looking at 3, but you're being offered this grand opportunity. And what's a part of it? It's the willingness to let go. For those of you who are Gemini risings, you'll have Aries in the 11th. So then you'll have Libra in the 5th. And those are the eclipses we're about to go through again. And it's like, I always think of it as like the tide. It's being, we're about a month out and we're being pulled back, you know, for what's important to be let go of. So many cups, so many feelings. This mutable season is bringing out the emotional side of you. Whether you like it or not, you'll be revealed to what pulls your heartstrings, what pulls your emotional strings, who may be playing upon them. But from the 4 to the 3, now, if you decide to, you know, not look up, it'll still be fine. But not too far after, you're still going to have to face and come up against the question of, what are you willing to do? What do you actually want to be responsible for at this time, from 9 to 9? You'll go through this looks like this pattern until you meet a moment where you're finally like, okay, something's got to give this month. Something's got to give. The Three of Cups at some point may have turned into commiserating, which is fine, right? But you'll, even if you go too far in that way, you'll always come back to like, well, how does this evolve? Like, how does this shift? And you've got a lot of lucky moments coming up, but they may not feel so great if you're on your guard. So if you don't want to be on your guard or in and out of even a paranoid place, right? There's something about this testing your faith, what you want to be responsible for, and understanding why you may have your guard up, right? Where this all comes back to. What the nines are, the finishing of cycles, and what is that, right? What's finishing? Something you've created may have had a long-term run, and now you're changing your focus. And in order, the queen of an attachment is the Empress. That's a conundrum. If you haven't noticed already, I'm a goof, and that will always come out in my shit. So I come from an Irish background, and laughing is a part of coping for us, okay? And I'm not blaming that. It's just hard to get rid of when shit connects, but I understand. From the 9, we travel down, we hit the Wheel of Fortune, and then we come to the Empress, and here you have it. You can stand before and trust. You know, what is this unattachment, right? Like, why, what do you mean? Why do you keep bringing this up, you know? What is this that we're conceptualizing, Gemini might ask, right? There are some rulers, and we've seen this in movies and TV and stuff. There are some rulers who just can't let go. There's some people that just want to, or they're so, and you can see that they're afraid, but they want to rule with power and anger. And we can see that in many different aspects where we're going to keep it to movies because that's what we do. So you can see what happens when one rules in a way of fear. So there's some fear that could be ruling some decisions you have made, and now you're seeing how that's affected your life. But you're also giving, so it may feel hard and it may feel pretty emotional because you've kind of known this, but you may have thought that you could get away with it for a little bit longer. But then something happens that makes you have to really come back to reality. You know, it wasn't just once, it was a couple times, right? And then there's rulers who are able to trust, and maybe they overly trust, right? We see the ones that overly trust and then get duped in the end. However, the ability to get back up and trust again, the ability to trust in the first place, whether it is in a naive way or not, is still a relationship with trust. And when you have to build that, you're going to be, the muscle will have to go through a series of changes in order to grow, just like regular muscles. I do believe those kinds of, because it's not, trust isn't just an emotion. It's an experience that we can talk about physically in examples. It's a concept, right? And we can talk about that here, air signs. We can conceptualize all day, but this is your life. And weirdly enough, you know, Jupiter is in Taurus right now. And Jupiter is one of the rulers of Pisces, which is the season that we're in. So the luck that you get from the mutable aspects here is that by the end of the month, something clicks, right? It could be the eclipse just saying, hey, like, this is what it is and this is what's happening, and you kind of just got to deal with it, right? Eclipses are things that are just bound to come to an end, are bound to start. Like, they're just fated. You can call them fated happenings, yet calculated, because it's not calculated like a planned thing, but how it affects the aspect of what your chart, where it is and you're going through your chart. And if you're a Gemini rising, again, 5th house, that's, you might, and for some of you, the Empress is also, maybe you're, thinking about getting pregnant or starting something new and really making a plan for it. Sorry about that. Because you have the Ace of Swords after a reversed 8 of Cups. You may get to the point where you are just done and want a clean slate. And that's what you are entitled to within yourself. It almost looks like we're watching you go through like a photo, how do I put this? Yeah, like a photo series of events, right? You're going to be able to allow yourself space and to witness yourself in a way that creates a decision that helps you not only what seems like, even if it feels like this has come up before and you're like, well, I'm facing it again, but you're saying I'm doing something huge. You are. In Pisces season, I talked a little bit about this. This is the season of the elder. Whatever you're going through and whatever patterns are being culminated, and you're giving the opportunity of clarity, because Pisces season isn't always clear. This one, for some reason, has so much, at least in the beginning here, because that's where we're at. So I can't say for the end just yet, because I think it will get a little dicey. But because we will reach the eclipses, which is kind of like, oh, like what's happening? You don't realize till after, because it's like you're just in it, right? If you can be in it. The difference is that the pattern I'm seeing is very obscure because it's about trusting the intuition with each sign and how you get there. And for you right now, it really is the experience with your life, because you need to see something specific, a sign, in order to continue the way that you are specifically. That's where I am seeing that you're at. And with the Ace of Swords at the end, you're going to make very clear decisions. And you have to remember that you're just not a sign who stays put, right? But what you're noticing is that when you do come up against this and you do take the road of, okay, I'm going to practice within my body how to let this go and know that, life will show me in return. It's that in that moment where you really want to revert. You have to be willing to be very present with yourself and like kind of snap yourself out of it, or imagine, or just, it's preparing yourself before, right? So I think about it like this, Gemini. And you relate to people, you're a communicator, right? And if you're not, then that's something that's a growth point for you, and so you'll be constantly put in these positions. Forgive me, I just washed my hair and it feels really good. So anytime you actually want to improve, like for real, and I'm not just saying, I want to improve, self-care, blah, blah. It's like, no, like you've really committed to yourself. You've said to yourself, okay, like I am ready. Like this, I'm not going to keep going through this. And yes, you can say that, but there's this connection with yourself. What does life do? I believe, and what I've seen and experienced, is that life will put you in a position to act different. It'll create a situation, or you'll create it. Your energy wants to create it, so you're gonna be able to be put in that position. It may take you a couple of times, but then you may be like so done with your own shit, which is very Taurus energy, especially right now, that you're just like, okay, I'm not operating that way anymore. Like, I actually want to change. I deeply know, and I'm not in desperation. I'm feeling very secure, right? Regardless of what happens, I trust, right? I trust. There it is. And that communication, to be able to trust that communication first, you and your higher power, finding your own version of that, right? Because why? That's the first communication you have to trust, is yourself and the way you interact with your life. And then you have like your intimate partner relationships, whoever's closest to you, children, and then so on and so forth, right? Parents, and or whoever you deem family, right? It's because those decisions are the preparation, because that's the communication with yourself that you first need to have before these situations arise. Because if you are a communicator and someone who will always be forgiven for, making mistakes, right? You're human. You're always going to make mistakes, and you're the most human, right? It's just being willing to accept the different forms that this comes in. You're not always going to get the form you're looking for, the people, the person. That may change. Right, I'll always say, like, it doesn't matter where I've been or traveled to. I could feel different, but I'm still I'm still attracting the same stuff unless I've actually changed or my energy's actually shifted. And to some extent, in order to travel, you have to have a lot of trust. You have to trust that the plane's going to get there, that you're going to be safe in the airport, they're going to be safe from getting from place to place. And that's why people who don't travel as much will always be like, safe flight, like, call us. And people are like, why are you so concerned? Me. Well, because you have to deep trust to know that you're going to get from place to place, and then an acceptance that, and this is just the way I think, right? That if I don't make it there safely, that this is the choice that I made, and anything that happens, this is like where I want to be, right? That's how deeply I commit to like life and how I see life. When I'm afraid, I go all the way down, the thought process, and notice how my body feels as I make these decisions and as I face these things. And you'll notice that as you do, what comes next is easier. You may feel luckier. You may start to automatically start to magnetize exactly what you need for the next step to occur. The people, the information, both maybe together, right? That trust is now circulating through your energy field in your life because you've opened up some doors that you shut or that you didn't even know were there. Right? The air signs are being like refocused. They're just like, okay, it's like Pisces season is like going in and be like, okay, where are these air signs not allowing their worth or allowing their healing to affect their worth? And let's go there. Let's talk about it. This eclipse is serious, and there's obviously a direction. Seems to be a motive here. Just kidding. But Gemini, I do hope that whoever you need to, and whatever you do need to move on from, that it can be handled with grace, that you deserve the change that you're looking for. But you do need to be, of course, disciplined to the change and the willingness to go along for the ride. If you do find yourself in fear or even paranoid or overly concerned about something, trust your intuition, right? Trust that maybe you need like to take a day to yourself or connect with someone, or listen to something that will help you feel more secure or more safe, like find some safety. I definitely recommend that for sure. And we'll get right into the next part. Gemini, I know a lot's been said. I know it doesn't feel maybe wrapped up, but it isn't always that way. And we're entering the next year, and I think you just have a lot to think about, and you might be slightly avoiding it, so it's bringing you back to really focusing on what maybe you've been avoiding. Okay? All information is below, and we'll see you soon.